July 18th, 2013, we're live, ladies and gentlemen, 866-582-9933. Milwaukee is a Potawatomi word, a Native American word pronounced Manawaki, which translates loosely to a rich, beautiful land or a gathering place. You got to love that, a rich, beautiful land or a gathering place. So guess what? We're going to go talk to Frank from Milwaukee right now. Hey, Frank, thanks so much for the phone call. You are live.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, I'm happy to help. What's up?
Nothing much, man. Just enjoying this hot weather over here. I got this cat, though, man. He's got these crystals in his urine. He was blocked up. Took him to the vet. They got him on some prescription food, and basically, I guess, the regular cat food out there has GMO products in it, and blocked up his urine and his filled up crystals and everything. And I asked the doctor if I could give him maybe some apple cider vinegar or a little bit of lemon juice in his water to help break up those crystals. He said no. Is there anything that you could recommend?
Yeah, lead at 300 feet per second. Lead at 300 feet per second. I hate cats, man. I don't hate cats. I don't really like them. We're having an experience with a transient cat at our house right now. Oh, I don't have that great of a relationship to. Now, here's what I want to tell you about that, though, Frank. All humor aside, really who you should be calling about this is Dr. Wallach, because Dr. Wallach, before he became a naturopath, was the world's leading research veterinarian pathologist. I mean,
yeah, I can never get through, man.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to tell you. This isn't my wheelhouse, but it's Wallach's wheelhouse. Wallach could tell you what to do in a heartbeat. And not only would he tell you what to do, but he'd also tell you why it's not happening right now. Now, in the past, when I've talked to him about animal-related things, he always tells me, no matter what the condition is, he always says, have the people switch out the food that they're feeding the cat to a different brand. Just give them a different brand of cat food. And make sure there isn't any gluten in it. Don't worry so much about the GMO stuff. Just give them a different brand of cat food and make sure that it's appropriate for their, the type of cat. Like, you're not going to want to give a full-grown cat kitten food, right? So just switch out the food that you're giving the cat. And every animal that I've ever seen Dr. Wallach help, he always recommends the Bloomin' Minerals. So that's the stuff that we give to plants, right? It's the Bloomin' Minerals. It's a big bag of the minerals before they're processed. Grind the Bloomin' Minerals up in a mortar and pestle and sprinkle it into the cat food. Now, notwithstanding those two things, I have no idea what to do for this animal, but Wallach would. So, call the show early. I would call. I'd give him a call about 10 minutes before they go on.
Okay. Hey, can I just say one more thing?
Yeah, as much as you want, Frank.
All right. Yeah, check this out. I had GERD and fatty liver disease, and I called my buddy Ben over there at GCN, and he helped me, fire my MD.
So what happened to your GERD, and what happened to the GERD and fatty liver?
Oh, it disappeared. I never did acid reflux anymore. I take whey protein. I drink apple cider vinegar after every meal. Essential fatty acids, probiotics, digestive enzymes. Drink a lot of water, and I try to stay on a good diet.
And the fatty liver resolved as well?
Oh yeah, that went away. I just ate more fat, but good fat.
That's interesting. Now, don't neglect the power of selenium in helping your body to optimize liver function. The liver is a very interesting organ. You can surgically remove over, I think, 3/4, 70-something% of the liver, and it'll grow back. It'll grow back. Selenium, yeah, the ultimate selenium as given by Longevity. I saw a woman, one of Dr. Wallach's earlier patients, She was in the hospital at Harvard University with a chronic progressive liver disease called sclerosing cholangitis. Her liver was basically shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and it was bad. She was in the hospital waiting for a liver transplant. I think she'd had 20-something surgeries to the liver, because every time the liver would shrink, the blood supply would get all messed up, and so the surgeons would go in and put these little stents in the blood vessels to keep her liver from becoming gangrenous, right? So she'd had 20 surgeries to the liver. She's waiting for a liver transplant. Her husband hears Dr. Wallach on his radio show, and he calls him up and says, "Doc, my wife has sclerosing cholangitis." Wallach says, "I know why, and I know what to do." So he put her on a program over the phone, and within 3 weeks, she's released from the hospital, and she's stabilized. And within a year, the liver had completely grown back. It was one of the most remarkable healings I've ever witnessed in my life. It was unfreaking believable. And
Awesome.
I've talked to Doc about this extensively. The secret sauce here is the plant-derived minerals and the ultimate selenium. So I would encourage you to up the ante with your current program. How much do you weigh, Frank?
I weigh about 190. I differ between like 192 and 187. But I do take selenium, but it's not longevity. Is there a huge difference?
Yeah, there's a huge difference. Yeah, no, that's a great question. Yes, the answer is yes, and here's why, right? The secret is the recipe. You know, it's all wine is made from grapes, right? But there's a great deal of difference between Annie Boone Springs green apple wine and a nice California Cabernet, man. Well, they're all made from grapes. Chicken soup. You know, they're all, my mother's chicken soup was really, really great and very different than the crap you get in a can at the supermarket. What's the difference? The recipe. Well, it's no different with nutritional supplements. Now, I want you to hear what I'm about to say with an open mind, because every time I tell people this, they hear it like a sales pitch, and this is not a sales pitch. This is just the facts before the board. If your son or, your son wanted to learn how to play hockey, and you had the choice between, for the same price, for having him coached by Wayne Gretzky or your local high school hockey coach, you'd choose Wayne Gretzky because he's way better at hockey than your local high school hockey coach. You'd choose the best of the best. Well, in the world of science-based, licensed and regulated, clinically verified medical nutrition, there are no other physicians anywhere in the world who have Dr. Wallach's body of research and Dr. Wallach's clinical experience. Dr. Wallach is the top dog in the world of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. He's like the Wayne Gretzky, the Michael Jordan of medical nutrition. So look, man, if you come up against a choice between, a selenium formulation made by Wallach or a selenium formulation made by anybody else, go with Wallach, because he brings way more experience to bear on his recipes, and the recipes are everything. So yeah, I would switch out to the selenium. Now, 200 pounds, the recommendation for you, if it's in the budget, would be 4 bottles of the ultimate selenium a month. 4 bottles of the ultimate selenium a month. You should also get your hands on a brand new product that Longevity rolled out. It's called Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0. Beyond Tangy.
I'm already got a bunch of cans of that.
Have you got the new peach flavored one?
No, I have not tried that yet.
Oh my God!
I'm actually going to get a Healthy Start Pack because I'm just starting to join a gym, so I'm going to be hitting the gym with the Healthy Start Pack.
Well, I tell you what, if you switch to the 2.0, the newest version of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, I mean, it's a whole different ball game, man, pun intended. It's a different taste. It has it's better. It has less net negative effects on your body. They've removed a lot of the fruits that people were having allergic reactions to. It has more antioxidants in it. It has more vitamin A, more folic acid. It's a better product. And not only that, it tastes better, too. And I would really strongly encourage you to try the new Beyond Tangy Tangerine. And then call me back and tell me what you think, because,
So they still have both of them?
Oh, yeah, they got both. And they'll have both forever. But they just rolled the new one out at the beginning of July. So it's a brand spanking new product. Check it out. You're going to love how it tastes. Hey, Frank, thanks for the call. Keep up the good work. Go out there and get them, man. Remember, you are the last best hope your friends and family and church members have to live a long, healthy, and dare I say it out loud, wealthy life. From Milwaukee to Oregon we go, and by the way, it's not Oregon, it's Oregon. Oregon, not Oregon, as any Oregonian will tell you. Hey, Bob, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hey, thanks for taking my call again. I got a friend that has rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah.
And she's had 3 foot operations, but it's also in her hands and the shoulders and in pain all the time. She's 44, about 195 pounds.
Okay. I'm getting is that it, Bob? Is there anything else I can help you with?
Well, she can't walk on a treadmill anymore, and the medicine she's taking make her gain weight. And so, yeah, they'll listen to the podcast tonight when this comes on. So, yeah, I'm in the truck again. I didn't have a chance to pull off. So.
No, that's okay. I appreciate the phone call. We're all good. I'm going to drop.
Can you leave me on the line and mute me again so I can hear what you're saying?
Yeah, I can mute you, I think. Let me give it a try. All right. Hey, it worked. Hey, we have the technology. That's the first time I did that, ladies and gentlemen. Give Dr. Glidden a round of applause. I am not technologically challenged. At least I'm climbing that learning curve. All right. So arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, what's the difference? Well, Dr. Wallach's research uncovered the fact that rheumatoid arthritis is arthritis, which is chronic nutrient deficiencies in the joint. Your body doesn't have a bad joint because it has a joint. Your body doesn't have a bad joint because it has the bad joint gene. Your body doesn't have a bad joint because you're getting older. Your body has a bad joint because it's run out of the raw materials it needs to keep the joints healthy, and you are unwittingly eating food all of the time that's causing inflammation in the joints. Now, there is a difference between arthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. I'm going to tell you what that is when we come back, along with our program, science-based, clinically verified, to support and promote the structure and function of your joints. Imagine that. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. This is Fire Your MD Now. Remember what I told you, folks. Your MD, by virtue of their training, is like a colorblind art critic that doesn't know they're colorblind. Their criticisms are going to be flawed by a built-in a priori bias that they're completely unaware of. So, because no MDs practicing clinical work have ever done an autopsy on a rheumatic joint, because the people in the field doing this type of research don't practice clinically with actual patients in real-time clinical settings, there's a gigantic disconnect. And also because the MD profession is inherently cowardly, as are all academic professions in the world. The academics are taught to work inside of their box, not to think outside of it. They're taught to think conservatively, not progressively. They're taught to toe the party line, not to work, inside of the practice of medicine and grow your knowledge base based on your own experience with your own patients. They're taught to do what their superiors tell them to do, and nobody questions a damn thing. They don't. It becomes reality by consensus. So, some medical doctor somewhere says that the antibody associated with autoimmune Hashimoto's thyroiditis causes the disease. Everybody believes it, even though the virus associated with Hashimoto's thyroiditis is also presumptively not the cause of the disease, but a result of the disease, but the MDs miss it. Every MD in the world says that, heartburn is caused by too much stomach acid, and every MD believes it because every MD says it, and it's patently wrong, incorrect, and stupid. And I'm choosing my words carefully. Well, it's no different with rheumatoid arthritis. So the difference between arthritis and rheumatoid arthritis is that in the rheumatic joint, in the joint capsule of a rheumatoid arthritis patient, there's a little bug, a microscopic bug called a mycoplasma, which has taken up residence and is living in the joint. So it's like kicking someone when they're down. Number one, the body has run out of the nutrients it needs to maintain the structural integrity and the competence of the joint. Number two, you're constantly eating food that is causing low-grade inflammation, which further compromises the structural and functional integrity of the joint. And number three, there's a bug in there that's chewing things up and pooping things out, and that ain't good. So, in order to support and promote the structure and function of the human body in the face of a diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis, because remember, we don't treat disease, we help people. We don't treat disease, we help people. We give people's bodies nutritional support, change their diet up, get the heck out of the way, and see if the body can fix itself. Because this is the fundamental difference between our approach and the MD approach. The MDs believe that once you're sick, you're screwed. Your body cannot fix itself. Your body is completely helpless. And your only option is to let the MD march in with a man-made synthetic drug, the intention of which is to take over the orchestrations, the metabolic orchestrations of your body and control them through man-made metabolism. MD-directed pharmaceutical medicine in this regard is like communism. Right? What does communism believe? Communism believes that people are stupid and that the state needs to control everything. And in a communist regime, the state does in fact control everything. They control the education, they control what you read and what you think and what you hear and they control everything. They don't let you vote. They control everything. Well, that's the philosophy that the MD brings to the table. You have to control the body with man-made metabolism, because the body isn't smart enough to fix itself, and once you're sick, you're screwed. Now, my profession stands in diametric opposition to this. We are polarly, boy, there's a mouthful. We are 180 degrees opposite to that theory. It's the polar extreme of this, right? It's the other polarity of the pole. They believe it's north, we believe it's south, but our vantage point is correct in this regard. So, we know that the human body has the ability to fix itself. We know that the human body wants to fix itself. And what do? We give the body the stuff it needs to get the job done. We get the heck out of the way and let her rip. So, to support and promote the structure and function of the bones and joints, in this case, the recommendation would be 1 healthy bone and joint pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, 1 bottle of selenium per 50 pounds of body weight per month. I would add 1 extra bottle of white liquid calcium a month and 1 or 2 bottles of liquid glucogel plus per month, in addition to the healthy bone and joint pack. And our secret sauce here in the case of a rheumatic condition is the killer biotic. The killer biotic, of course, a combination of a number of different herbs, each of which bump the immune system up to a degree or two from different angles, strengthening the body's ability to kill little microscopic, infectious, nasty ass invaders. And that, my friends, is a good recipe for health. Certainly it beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. The recommendation, 1 bottle of Killer Biotic per 100 pounds of body weight per month. Plus, of course, eliminate the 10 bad foods. Give your body a fighting chance, for goodness sake. And once you're doing the right stuff, you're going to love how you feel. You know, I find it interesting, given all of this medical madness that we're up against, that our national pastime in the United States is baseball. The leading player, batting average in National Baseball League right now is Miguel Cabrera from Detroit. He's in the American League, and his batting average is .365, which means that 64% of the time that he's up at bat, he misses. Now, most people in professional baseball aren't even hitting in the 300 zone. They're hitting in the high 200s, which means that over 70% of the time, 80% of the time that they're up at bat, they strike out or they hit out. 70 to 80% of the time, they mess up. They screw it up 70 to 80% of the time, and still there are national heroes, and we pay them millions of dollars of money a year to play baseball, and they fail 60, 70, 80% of the time. And what the heck is going on with that? Well, that's just a national thing. That's how it is with baseball, man. It's the same with medicine. I just gave this lecture in Wisconsin, middle of Wisconsin last night. And, practically everybody that's there and practically everybody that calls into the radio show and practically everybody that's on my webinars every week, they tell me these stories. Oh, I know somebody, they have type 2 diabetes, they have arthritis, they have high blood pressure, they have heartburn, they have insomnia, and they've got eczema. They've got 6 things wrong with them. And what does that mean? That means that their medical doctors, their MDs, the medical profession that they have given their hard-earned money to gain access to through medical insurance premiums their entire lives have failed them. Consistently, they fail. The MDs consistently let you down and fail and fail and fail and fail and fail. Meanwhile, they double, triple, quadruple down on the stress of your life by giving you the $20,000 doctor bill. Give me a break. It is the only profession, well, I guess baseball as well, where you can constantly screw up the majority of the time and get paid big bucks. And nobody bats an eyelash, right? I mean, isn't that how it is with this woman with rheumatoid arthritis? I mean, she had 3 operations to her foot, and now something else is going south. She's not getting any better. She's getting worse. I mean, isn't she glad she paid all that money for medical insurance premiums for, 40 years of her life and her parents before her? Oh, yeah, that's a good investment in money. That's a good track record. But really, I'm going to come up with a name for this. I'm thinking about what it's going to be. I haven't nailed it down yet. But, it's going to be an analog, a simile to Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome is a curious psychological phenomenon where the kidnap victims develop feelings of affection for the kidnappers. So that's what we've got. The MDs consistently let us down. The MD therapeutics fail us. The MD therapeutics harm us. The MD therapeutics bankrupt us. The MD therapeutics kill us, and we still love them. I don't get it. I've never been able to get this. I guess I've been thinking so far outside of this box for so many years now that it's just normal for me to understand in clear vision how the MDs operate, what the MDs deliver. I have no bias there. There are no clouds before my eyes. I can see it. I've been seeing it clearly for decades now. It's ingrained into my consciousness. Most people just don't see it. And it's amazing to me that we can miss something this big, which is what I was alluding to at the top of this hour. This ain't no conspiracy theory, folks. This is the plain, cold, hard facts. But these facts are so big and so much in front of us all the time that we do not see them. And this is a tragedy of biblical proportions. All right, so we went from Maniwaki to Oregon. Now we're going to go to Wyoming and talk to Jacob. Hey, Jacob, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Thank you for taking my call, Dr. Glidden. I have a young boy. He is 4.5 years old, 3 feet tall. He weighs 35 pounds, and he has ADHD. And he also has severe allergies of dairy and soy, and he has a gluten intolerance, I think.
Yeah, well, everybody does, that's not true, but over 80%, or conservative estimates are between 70 and 80% of everybody has a gluten intolerance, whether it's a mild one or a full-blown one. It's an interesting thing, right? Besides, the kind of psychological stuff that's going along for this kid, the behavioral stuff that's going along for this kid, is there anything else like eczema or asthma or anything else?
I asked him if there was any skin conditions, and he said he didn't have any issues with that.
Okay.
The doctor wanted to diagnose him with ADHD. He wasn't 100% sure yet about it either, but it sounded like they wanted to put him on a medication.
Well, yeah, it's like the 100th monkey thing, right? And this is the thing that they're doing now with kids, because remember, the MD is trained to believe that consciousness is a function of biochemistry. They believe that the way that you think and the way that you feel is 100% a function of the biochemicals in your body and has nothing to do with your soul or your spirit force or spirit presence. And this is one of the fundamental disconnects between conventional medicine and holistic medicine. Because holistic medicine argues that the body, that biochemistry is a function of consciousness. That consciousness comes first, and biochemistry comes second, and MDs argue that biochemistry comes first and consciousness comes second, and of course they're wrong and we're right. In this case, there is no gray area. They're wrong and we're right. Just get used to it, ladies and gentlemen. We are right most of the time. And like Walter Brennan used to say, no brag, just fact. No brag, just fact. So look, here's the deal. I want you to do a Google search for Doris Rapp, R-A-P-P, Doris Rapp, one of the few MDs who I have respect for. Doris Rapp got it right. She didn't get it all the way right. She got it about 20% of the way right. But at least Dr. Doris Rapp brings to the table an understanding of the intimate relationship between the consumption of allergic foods and mentation and behavior. On Doris Rapp's website, she has remarkable videos, before and after videos of normal little kids, angels, just normal little adjusted kids, and then she'll give them a bite of something that they're allergic to. And this isn't like a peanut allergy where their throat swells up and they die. This is a delayed hypersensitivity immune reaction mediated by a different part of the immune system other than the immediate hypersensitivity immune reactions that you get if you eat something you're allergic to, like a peanut, your throat swells up. It's a different type of allergic reaction. When these kids with this type of an allergic reaction eat certain foods, within 5 minutes of eating it, they turn into little demon children, and I am not exaggerating. Swearing, using vulgar language, oh, I want to kill you, oh, I want to die, and all of this sexually explicit, nasty language you wouldn't expect from a longshoreman. And this little 5-year-old kid is spitting this stuff out like gospel. It's crazy. Why does this happen? Because the central nervous system becomes inflamed by consistent consumption of food that they're intolerant to or allergic to, and this capitulates all kinds of behavioral reactions. And now you bring an MD into this forte, into this domain, and because the MD is a colorblind art critic who has a cowardly understanding of professionalism, who is taught to toe the line, not to think outside of the box, not even to, push the limits of the box whatsoever. They just do the party line, and the party line here is, well, consciousness is a function of biochemistry, so we got to dope the kids up. So what do they do for these kids? They'll give them a Ritalin, which is in the same classification of cocaine. And by the way, the guy that published the first journal article which showed a relationship between Ritalin and attention deficit hyperactive disorder was thrown into prison a couple of years after he published it because he falsified the research 100%. The initial research done on the positive effects between Ritalin and ADHD were bogus. And the guy that published it was caught with his hands in the cookie jar and thrown in jail. But the MDs keep dishing this stuff out like it's candy because they're idiots and you should avoid them at all costs. So what we do, on the other hand, is prudent and wise and science-based and clinically verified and supports and promotes the body's ability to fix itself, and which is what you thought your MD did, but lo and behold, they do not. So the recommendation here is going to be very, very strict diet. This kid has to not only avoid gluten, he has to avoid the other 6 bad foods. He has to be 100% on the good food, but eliminate the bad foods from his diet. He has to 100% eliminate the 10 bad foods from his diet. Number 2, you have to find a cholesterol source that he is not allergic to. You have to find a cholesterol food, a food that's high in cholesterol that he can tolerate and not have an allergic reaction to it. So the top 3 foods in that regard would be eggs, whole milk, full-fat yogurt, full-fat dairy products, and last but not least, chicken with the skin, and then, hamburger and meat that's cooked rare or medium rare. You got to find a cholesterol source that this kid can tolerate, and I want him to eat cholesterol like it's going out of style. Make sure that he's salting his food so that it tastes good. And once you have those nutritional bases covered, the recommendation of 33 pounds would be 1/2 of a healthy start pack per month. 1/2 of a healthy start pack per month. 33 pounds. 1 bottle of Ultimate Selenium a month. One bottle of Ultimate Selenium a month. And a 1/2 bottle of Z-Radical a month. A 1/2 bottle of Z-Radical a month. So give him a 1/2 bottle of Z-Radical a month, 1 entire bottle of selenium a month, and 1/2 of a healthy start pack every month, plus clean up his diet. Oh, and into the bargain, because of the known food allergies, you can give him 1 packet, actually give him a half a packet. Give him a half a packet of root beer belly once a day. A half a packet of root beer belly once a day. And if you just do that simple program for 90 days, there should be a remarkable turnaround in his body-mind experience of the world. And the last thing I want to tell you is, when you're moving down the track with this kid or any other kid that has a behavioral disorder, whether it's been codified and it's been definitively diagnosed, or we just think that something's going on, you want to pay attention between his behavior when it gets crazy or spacey, either one, and the very last thing that he had to eat or drink. Interestingly enough, this type of relationship shows up usually within 15 minutes. So if your kid, is ADD-ish and they get really spacey at a certain time of the day, look to see the very last thing that they ate or drank, because that was what capitulated the spacey event. If the kid is ADHD and they have a particularly hyperactive afternoon, a particularly hyperactive moment in time, look to see the very last thing that they put in their mouth, because they're reacting to it and that thing needs to be eliminated from their diet. But because of it's a delayed reaction, it'll happen 10, 15, 20 minutes after the fact. And because we haven't been trained to look for it, we miss it. So mindfulness here goes a long way towards really helping to sand off the rough edges of this experience while we're waiting for the medical nutrition to kick in. For goodness sake, especially in this instance with our little ones, we really need to avoid the MDs like the freaking plague, because all they have for this kids is drugs and more drugs and more drugs and more drugs, and that ain't the way to health this time. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a new sheriff in town. His name is Dr. Peter Glidden. Check him out. Fire Your MD Now. Hey, wait a minute, that's me. FireYourMDNow.com. Back after these messages. Stick around. It ain't mission impossible, ladies and gentlemen. It's mission difficult. We're up to the challenge. Join Team Glidden. Join Longevity. FireYourMDNow.com. Turn your life around. Click on the Join Longevity tab. And come along for the ride, why don't you? Just like Rich in Illinois did. Hey, Rich, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
First off, I have a question about your webinar tonight. I got a couple of different emails from you. Is it going to be with Dr. Wallach and muscular dystrophy, or is it going to be about stroke?
It's going to be about stroke tonight. We had a scheduling conflict with Dr. Wallach, and we also had some technological stuff that came up at the last minute. We're expecting, like 250 people at it. So we had to delay its presentation so that we can just have all of our ducks in a row. And this happened Tuesday. We rescheduled it Tuesday. So tonight's webinar is about stroke, and a week from tonight, which would bring us to Thursday, July 25th. The 25th day of July is about muscular dystrophy.
Great. And then one other question about my health recovery program. I forgot my username. What's the best way to go about retrieving that?
All right. Yeah, all right. So my producer here will give you my email address off air, and you can just send me an email, and we'll hook you back up with that. And, don't feel bad. It happens a lot of the time. It happens to me about 6 times a month. So there's no worries, Rich. I appreciate the support. How are you finding the webinars, by the way? I mean, how long have you been doing it, and what's your experience of them?
I have been doing it actually since I met you at Drury Lane here in Oak Brook Terrace last year at the senior health recovery thing that they had going on over there. And since then, I've been part of the program. I just changed some things, and I was sharing it with a few people, and I forgot what I did. So just need to refresh that, and it's just been amazing. I appreciate everything that you do on a daily basis. It's just amazing information and knowledge that you present. It's just, I can't even find words for it. But speaking of that, I have my actual question was about
a lady who was ready to join and ready to go with everything. She was real excited, did all her research about the products and everything, and she was really excited, tried the BTT, loved it, but then she had a reaction to it, and it just threw me for a loop. I had no clue what to even start to say about it. She said she had an allergy to natural sweeteners and artificial, just sweeteners in general, I guess. And she said it gave her a reaction where she was just ravenously hungry the whole rest of the day and just not feeling really well. And she still said, I talked to her this morning, and she still said she felt a little bit off this morning. And I just had a general question to see if there's something that you could help with just generally in the meantime before I can get her in direct contact with you. I was hoping for the free webinar or whatever to try and get that with you and Dr.
Well, yeah, all right. So I'm running out of time here, buddy. We're up against the clock. I'm going to put you on hold, and my studio producer will be able to give you my email address off of the air, and then I'm going to answer your question in the next minute and a half. Thanks a lot for everything you do, Rich. I appreciate it. All right, so here's the deal. When someone has a negative reaction to the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, this woman's half right. It's an allergic reaction, but it's not an allergic reaction to an artificial sweetener. It's an allergic reaction to a protein that's in one of the 115 fruits or vegetables, or 2 or 3 or 4 of the 115 fruits or vegetables that are in that product. It's a delayed hypersensitivity food allergy capitulated by decades of destruction to her intestinal villi by consistent consumption of wheat, barley, rye, and oats. So the recommendation to get on the other side of this is twofold. Number one, she has to just stop taking the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Give it to somebody else in her family. Number two, she has to eliminate the 10 foods from her diet. Number three, she has to get on board with a program that supports and promotes the structure and function of her digestive tract. And the best way to do that is to switch from the Beyond Tangy original red formula to the Beyond Tangy 2.0 peach infusion, because most of the allergic fruits have been removed from that, and I doubt very much that she's going to have any type of a negative reaction to the new Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0, and she has to furthermore support the structure of her gut, and she's going to do that with the Root Beer Belly. Take 1 packet of Root Beer Belly a day on the tongue. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, stroke webinar tonight. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. See you there, 8 o'clock Central, and see you tomorrow again for another live broadcast.